Book 3, Shadows and Storms. Chapter 1, A World of Wolves. London rain was different from New York's. It didn't crash down in sheets, it lingered, soft and bone-deep, seeping under collars, clinging to skin like secrets. Callan hated it already. She adjusted the collar of her leather jacket, scanning the flood of faces at Heathrow's arrivals hall. Beside her, Alani moved like shadow and silk, dressed in a tailored black coat that somehow made the entire terminal look like her stage. "Relax," Alani murmured, voice like velvet. "You look like you're about to arrest someone." Callan's lips twitched. Old habits die hard. Alani's storm-gray gaze cut sideways, slow and deliberate, lingering. "Sweetheart, most of your old habits died the second you kissed me." Callan's pulse spiked. Damn her. Always so precise with her strikes. "One of these days, your mouth is going to get us killed." Alani's smirk curved wickedly. "And until then, it's going to get me everything I want." They moved through customs with false passports, Callan's nerves buzzing. She wasn't FBI anymore, no badge, no shield. Just a fugitive with a woman who turned danger into perfume. The driver waited with a black car outside, rain streaking down the windows as London blurred past. "You trust this guy?" Callan muttered. Alani stretched her legs out, completely at ease. "Of course not. But he's paid well enough to keep his mouth shut." Comforting. Alani turned her head, smirk softening into something slower, more dangerous. "Comfort isn't what you signed up for, sweetheart." Callan gave a low laugh, shaking her head. "No. I signed up to put people like you in handcuffs." Alani leaned closer, her breath warm against Callan's ear. "And now?" Callan's throat tightened, her reply husky. "Now I'm not sure if I want to cuff you or kiss you." Alani's laugh was a quiet, molten thing. "Why not both?" The streets narrowed, rain slicking cobblestones. The driver's voice cut through the quiet. "We're here." An unmarked townhouse, gray stone, shutters closed tight. Alani stepped out first, her heels sharp against wet pavement. Inside, maps were already spread across the table, pins marking London, Paris, Geneva. Evidence that Monroe and Hale weren't just running, they were building something. Callan traced the lines with her finger, heart tightening. "He's not freelancing. He's building a network." Alani's voice was low, steel wrapped in silk. "Then we tear it down." Callan looked at her, storm meeting fire. "Just you and me?" Alani's lips curved, slow and certain. "Sweetheart, who else do we need?" Chapter 2, Old Ghosts, New Masks. The cafe was tucked into a narrow London street, rain dripping from its awning in steady rhythms. Callan hated the exposure of public spaces, but Alani insisted they blend better here than skulking in alleys. "Besides," Alani said, delicately stirring her tea, "no one looks twice at two women sharing a table in the rain. Unless, of course," she leaned forward, lips curving, "you give them a reason to." Callan arched a brow, smirk tugging at her mouth. "You're impossible." "And irresistible," Alani countered smoothly. The bell above the door chimed. Callan froze. Because walking in tall, broad-shouldered, familiar stride, was Ethan Ward. Bureau. No, Interpol now, judging by the black folder tucked under his arm. He hadn't changed, same squared jaw, same steady eyes that once watched her back in firefights. And now those eyes landed on her. Recognition. Shock. Then something darker. "Gibson," he said, voice rough, disbelieving. "What the hell are you doing here?" Alani's storm-gray gaze flicked between them, sharp as a knife. "Friend of yours, sweetheart?" "Used to be," Callan muttered. Ward pulled up a chair without asking, lowering his voice. "You vanished. The bureau's still cleaning up the fallout. And now I find you sitting with her." His eyes cut to Alani, disdain curling his lip. Alani didn't flinch. She leaned back, all elegance and steel. "Her is sitting right here, darling. And her has a name." Ward ignored her, focusing on Callan. "You're playing with fire. Monroe's not just running guns and files, he's plugged into something bigger. Governments. Money you can't even imagine. If you're here to chase him, you're already dead." Callan's jaw tightened. "Then maybe you should help me." Ward shook his head. "Help you? You're a liability. Interpol's watching you like a hawk." You're one whisper away from a cell. Alani's laugh was low, dangerous. Funny. She seems more valuable in my arms than she ever was in your bureau. Ward's eyes narrowed, sharp enough to cut. You think she'll protect you? She's already dragging you down. She'll get you killed. Callan's fists clenched. Don't talk to her like that. Ward leaned closer, voice sharp. You used to know better, Gibson. You used to believe in something other than her. For a heartbeat, the cafe's noise faded. Callan could feel Alani's gaze on her, waiting, watching if she'd bend. She met Ward's stare, steady and unflinching. Maybe I still do. It's just not the bureau anymore. Ward leaned back, studying her, something flickering behind his eyes, regret, maybe even longing. Then he stood. You're making a mistake, he said quietly. And when it blows up, don't say I didn't warn you. He left without looking back. The silence after was taut, charged. Alani sipped her tea like nothing had happened, though her eyes burned with stormfire. So, she said slowly, that was Ethan. Callan sighed. Yeah. Alani's lips curved into something sharp. Tell me, sweetheart, did he always look at you like that? Callan smirked despite herself. What, like he wanted to kiss me or kill me? Alani's voice dropped, velvet over steel. Both. And I don't share. Callan leaned closer, brushing her hand over Alani's. You don't have to. Chapter 3. The Marionette Strings. The townhouse basement smelled of damp stone and printer ink. Maps, laptops, stacks of stolen files covered the table. Callan leaned over them, sleeves rolled up, tension radiating from every muscle. Alani sat with her legs crossed, flawless even at midnight, eyes scanning numbers on the screen with predatory calm. This isn't just a smuggling route, Callan muttered, tracing a red line across Europe. These shipments are cover. The real transfers are here. She tapped a list of accounts, offshore havens spread from Zurich to Dubai. Alani's lips curved, slow and dangerous. Monroe's not chasing money. He's building leverage. Callan frowned. Leverage for what? Alani rose, heels clicking against stone, moving to stand beside her. She pointed at the cluster of accounts. These aren't banks. They're conduits. He's not funding himself, he's funding others. Politicians. Arms brokers. Men who want shadows to rule in daylight. Callan's chest tightened. Cross's death left a vacuum. He's filling it. Alani's gaze burned, storm-gray eyes locking onto hers. No, sweetheart. He's weaving it. He's not just a fugitive anymore, he's a kingmaker. A soft chime cut through the tension. The laptop screen flickered, an intercepted message. Hale's face appeared, grainy and furious, shouting into a camera. She humiliated me. She took everything. I want her blood. Tell me when. Tell me where. Alani's smile was sharp as glass. Poor Martin. Always a pawn, never the board. Callan's fists clenched. He's dangerous. Desperate pawns do stupid things. Alani stepped closer, her perfume wrapping around Callan like smoke. And desperate queens, she whispered, do ruthless things. For a moment, Callan forgot the screens, the files, the war. It was just Alani, heat, silk, storm. She swallowed hard, grounding herself. This isn't a game, Alani. If Monroe's funding this network, if Hale's his attack dog, then we're not just fighting two men. We're fighting a system. Alani's smirk softened into something more intimate, more lethal. Then we tear down the system, piece by piece. Hours later, when Callan finally closed the laptop, exhaustion dragging at her bones, Alani poured 2 glasses of wine. You're burning yourself out, Alani murmured, handing her one. Callan took it, their fingers brushing, the spark immediate. Better than burning you. Alani tilted her head, storm eyes gleaming. Sweetheart, if you burn, I burn. Haven't you learned that by now? Callan exhaled, a laugh breaking through her tension. Yeah, guess I have. Chapter 4. Fire in the Fog. The Thames rolled dark and heavy under a veil of mist. Cargo cranes loomed like skeletons, containers stacked high, lights glowing dim through the fog. Perfect ground for a hunt. Callan adjusted her grip on the pistol, every sense sharp. You know, she muttered, voice low, there are easier ways to spend a night in London. Dinner. Wine. Maybe a show. Alani's lips curved as she walked at her side, heels clicking softly against damp concrete. Sweetheart, this is the show. And I'm much more entertaining than the West End. Callan huffed, despite the tension. Entertaining, yeah. Suicidal, definitely. Alani's smirk deepened. And yet, you keep coming back for more. Movement. A shadow between containers. Callan raised her weapon, too slow. Gunfire cracked, bullets sparking against steel. She shoved Alani down, returning fire, heart thundering. Two men sprinted through the fog, hauling crates toward a waiting truck. Hale's dogs, Callan growled, firing again. One went down, the other vanishing into the mist. Alani rose with terrifying calm, her own pistol steady. She shot the driver cleanly through the windshield before he could start the engine. The man slumped, horn blaring into the night. Callan glanced at her, chest heaving. You do realize subtlety is a thing, right? Alani blew out a slow breath, storm gray eyes gleaming. And yet, here you are, still alive because I'm not subtle. They pressed forward. The fog thickened, swallowing sound. Then a flash of movement. Pain seared Callan's arm as a bullet grazed her shoulder, spinning her sideways. She hit the ground hard, teeth gritted against the burn. Kel. Alani's voice cracked, raw and sharp, before the Ice Queen vanished. In her place came a storm. She moved with lethal grace, a blur of black silk and fury. Gunshots echoed, bodies dropped. Within seconds, the dock fell silent but for the river's whisper. Alani dropped to her knees beside Callan, hands trembling as they pressed against the wound. You're bleeding, she hissed, voice shaking despite her composure. Callan winced, trying for a smirk. Takes more than a scratch to take me out. Alani's jaw clenched, storm gray eyes burning. Don't you dare joke. Not about this. Not about you. Her hands softened, stroking Callan's hair back, her lips brushing against her forehead. A whisper, raw and unguarded, if I lost you. Callan caught her wrist, squeezing despite the pain. You won't. By the time they reached the car, Callan was bandaged enough to move, but Alani hadn't let go of her hand once. You're reckless, Alani muttered, fury and fear colliding in her voice. Callan managed a tired grin. Look who's talking. Alani's lips curved a half smile, half threat. Sweetheart, if you make a habit of bleeding in front of me, I may just handcuff you to my bed to keep you safe. Callan chuckled, breathless. Promise? Alani's laugh was molten, dangerous. Careful what you wish for. Chapter 5. Breaking Points. The townhouse felt smaller after the docks. Damp clothes clung, Callan's shoulder burned, and the silence between them was heavier than the rain outside. Alani paced by the window, glass of whiskey in hand, every step sharp with fury. You could have been killed. Callan leaned against the table, teeth gritted. It was a graze. Alani spun, eyes blazing. A graze today. A bullet to the heart tomorrow. Do you think I'll just watch while you bleed out in front of me? Callan's jaw tightened. It's the job. Her words cracked the air like lightning. Alani laughed, low, bitter, dangerous. The job? You don't even wear a badge anymore, sweetheart. What are you clinging to, principles? Protocols? Those won't keep you alive. Callan's chest tightened, fury rising to meet hers. And what you will? By killing anyone who breathes the wrong way? By burning down everything in your path until there's nothing left but ash. Alani's storm gray eyes narrowed, her voice dropping to a whisper sharp enough to cut. If that's what it takes to keep you safe, yes. The words hit harder than the bullet. For a beat, they just stared, breath ragged, caught between love and war. Then Callan stepped forward, close enough to feel the heat radiating from Alani's body. That's not protection. That's obsession. Alani's lips curved, not in a smirk, but in something darker. Maybe. But tell me, sweetheart, do you want me to stop? Callan's heart thudded painfully. Silence. And in silence, the truth. She didn't. The kiss broke like a storm. Alani's glass shattered to the floor as Callan grabbed her by the waist, pulling her close, mouths colliding in fury and fire. Alani gasped, then devoured her, teeth clashing, hands clawing at fabric like they couldn't decide whether to tear each other apart or hold on tighter. The fight spilled against the wall, Callan pressing her hard, Alani's nails biting into her skin. "You drive me insane," Callan rasped against her lips. Alani's laugh was molten and breathless. "And yet you can't stay away." "Never." They stumbled toward the bedroom, leaving the wreckage of glass and maps behind. The world was still burning outside, Monroe still weaving his web, Hale still snarling in the dark. But for tonight, the only storm that mattered was theirs. Chapter 6. A Sister's Shadow. The knock came at dawn. Sharp. Relentless. Callan stirred from tangled sheets, muscles aching from more than just battle. Alani was already awake, sliding from the bed with predator's grace, silk robe trailing behind her. Another knock. Harder. Callan reached for her gun, but Alani held up a hand, storm-gray eyes narrowing. Not yet. She opened the door herself. Kenzie stood in the threshold, rain dripping from her coat, eyes red from travel and sleepless nights. For a long moment, no one spoke. The storm outside filled the silence. Finally, Callan whispered, Kenzie's gaze flicked over her, bandaged shoulder, messy hair, bare feet, and then to Alani, calm and collected in her robe, every inch the queen of the room. Her mouth tightened. "So, it's true," she said flatly. "You followed her across an ocean." They sat at the long table, coffee steaming, tension thicker than the rain. "I shouldn't be here," Kenzie muttered, staring at her cup. "But I couldn't stay out of it. Monroe's trail doesn't stop in London." Callan leaned forward, heart racing. "What do you know?" Kenzie pulled a folded envelope from her coat, sliding it across the table. "Paris. He's moving funds through a shell company there. And Hale's with him. They're planning something big." Alani's fingers brushed the paper, her voice calm. "And why bring this to us, darling? The Bureau would pay you well for this little gift." Kenzie's jaw clenched. "Because if I give it to them, they'll bury it. Or worse, bury you with it." Her eyes snapped to Callan's. "And as much as I hate what you're doing, I'm not handing you over to be destroyed." The silence was suffocating. Callan swallowed hard. "Kenzie, I never meant for this to hurt you." Kenzie's laugh was sharp, brittle. "Hurt me? You didn't just hurt me, Cal. You chose her over me. Over us." Alani's lips curved into a smirk that didn't reach her eyes. "She didn't choose, darling. She simply stopped pretending." Kenzie's glare could have set steel aflame. "Stay out of this." Alani leaned back, unbothered, sipping her coffee. "I'm already in it, whether you like it or not." When Kenzie finally rose to leave, she paused at the door. Her voice cracked, but her spine stayed straight. "I gave you Paris because I don't want you dead, Cal. But don't ask me to forgive you. Not yet. Maybe not ever." The door shut behind her, the echo lingering like a wound. Callan slumped into her chair, pain twisting her chest worse than the bullet wound. Alani came to her, sliding behind her chair, arms slipping around her shoulders, lips brushing the crown of her head. "Sweetheart," she whispered, velvet over steel, "let her rage. Let her burn. You're mine now." Callan closed her eyes, torn between grief and the pull of the storm she couldn't resist. Chapter 7. Parisian Fire. The ballroom glowed with chandeliers and candlelight, music swelling through gilded arches. Paris knew how to dress its sins in velvet. Callan tugged at the black mask covering her face, uncomfortable in the tux Alani insisted she wear. "This feels ridiculous." Alani, shimmering in a midnight gown that clung like liquid silk, adjusted his bow tie with a smirk. "Ridiculous, sweetheart, is thinking you can hunt predators without looking like one." Callan's throat tightened as Alani's fingers lingered at her collar. "You're enjoying this." "Oh, immensely." Alani's storm-gray eyes gleamed behind her mask. "Besides, you look devastating in black. Almost criminal." Callan huffed. "Almost?" Alani leaned in, lips brushing the shell of her ear. "Sweetheart, with me, you've already crossed that line. The ball wasn't just spectacle, it was strategy." Every powerful man in Europe seemed present. Bankers, politicians, shadows dressed as nobility. And somewhere among them, Monroe's new benefactors. Alani moved through the crowd like she owned it, each step drawing stares, each glance a weapon. Callan shadowed her, scanning, alert. They found their mark near the bar, a financier named LaRoche, known for laundering half of Paris's blood money. Alani's smile sharpened as she approached. "Victor," she purred, voice like honey over poison. "It's been too long." LaRoche blinked, startled, then nervous. "Madame Kahue. I thought you were indisposed." Alani's lips curved, lethal. "Rumors of my demise are always exaggerated." Callan slid in close, hand brushing Alani's waist, a silent signal. "Easy." But Alani thrived on fire. She leaned closer to LaRoche, whispering something that made the man pale, his drink sloshing in his hand. Callan tugged her back, murmuring low in her ear. "You keep pushing like that, we'll be outed in minutes." Alani smirked, eyes flicking to hers. "And wouldn't that be fun?" Callan bit back a groan. "You're impossible." And irresistible, Alani shot back without missing a beat. The night cracked when gunfire split the music. Masks screamed, chandeliers shook. A man dropped near the bar, blood spilling across marble. LaRoche bolted, and Callan yanked Alani behind a pillar as chaos exploded. Through the fog of smoke, a familiar snarl echoed. "Hail!" He wasn't hiding anymore. He was here, alive and armed. Callan raised her weapon, adrenaline surging. "He's mine." Alani's grip on her wrist was iron. "No, sweetheart. He's ours." Chapter 8. Hail Unchained. The ballroom was chaos, screams, shattered glass, masks trampled underfoot as chandeliers swung dangerously overhead. Callan shoved Alani toward the exit, gun raised, eyes scanning. But Hale wasn't hiding anymore. He strode through the smoke like a wolf set free, weapon gleaming, rage carved into every line of his face. "You think you can erase me?" he roared, firing into the crowd. Guests scattered, shrieking. "You take everything, Alani, and I'll take her." His gun swung toward Callan. Alani moved faster than thought. One hand yanked Callan behind her, the other raising her own pistol. The shot cracked sharp and clean. Hale stumbled, shoulders spraying crimson. The room froze on the sound. Alani lowered her gun, storm gray eyes blazing. "Touch her again, Martin, and I'll paint Paris with your blood." They ran. Out through marble halls, down stairwells slick with spilled champagne, into the Paris night. Sirens wailed in the distance, but Hale's men were already waiting, black vans pulling up on the cobblestones. Callan returned fire, dragging Alani behind cover. "He's got half the city in his pocket." Alani's laugh was wild, furious, molten. "Then let's bankrupt him." She pulled a small device from her clutch, sleek, deadly. Callan blinked. "Is that?" "A toy," Alani said simply, pressing the trigger. The parked van erupted in flame, heat washing over them. The blast sent Hale's men scrambling, smoke and fire swallowing the street. Callan stared at her, half horrified, half in awe. "You're insane." Alani's smirk curved wicked. "Sweetheart, you knew that when you kissed me." Hale emerged from the smoke, face twisted in fury, wounded but unbroken. He raised his gun again, voice raw. "You can't stop me. You can burn every city, Alani, but I'll keep coming. I'll tear her from you piece by piece until you've got nothing left." Alani's storm gray gaze locked on him, unflinching. "Then you'll die trying." She fired again, this time not to kill, but to force him back into the flames. Hale vanished into the smoke, his roar echoing through the night. When the street finally stilled, Callan slumped against a wall, chest heaving. "He's unhinged. He won't stop." Alani pressed close, cupping her face, eyes burning with both fury and fear. "Neither will I." Callan swallowed, caught in the storm of her gaze. "You're burning too hot, Alani. You'll take us both down." Alani's lips brushed hers, a vow whispered in fire. "Then we go down together, sweetheart." Chapter 9. The Interpol Net. Morning crept gray over Paris, the city bruised from last night's fire. The headlines screamed explosion at masquerade ball, dozens injured, whispers of terrorism. And in every column, the names whispered like poison: Alani Kahue. Callan Gibson. Callan tossed the paper onto the table, tension biting through every muscle. We're front page. Alani, barefoot in silk, poured herself coffee, utterly unbothered. Good. Let them know who hunts them. Callan dragged a hand through her hair. Alani, this isn't just smoke anymore. This is Interpol. They'll lock us both up and throw away the key. Alani's smirk curved, slow, dangerous. Let them try. The door slammed open. Callan spun, gun raised, then froze. Ward. Dressed in Interpol black, weapon holstered, eyes sharp and furious. Behind him, 2 agents waited in the hall, hands on their radios. He shut the door behind him, locking it, never looking away from Callan. What the hell are you doing? Do you realize the mess you've made? Callan's pulse kicked hard. Ward. You're a wanted criminal. His voice cracked like a whip. You and her. Interpol wants your heads. And you. His gaze cut sharp toward Alani. They want you more than anyone. Alani sipped her coffee unshaken. Flattering. Ward snapped. Do you ever take anything seriously? Alani's storm gray eyes glinted. Only her. Ward stepped closer, voice dropping. I can still fix this, Cal. I can pull strings, clear your name, bring you in quietly. But not with her. She's poison. Callan's chest tightened, torn in half. She's not. Yes, she is. Ward cut in, pain flashing behind his anger. Look at you. You're not the woman I knew. You're chasing fire, drowning in blood. And it's all because of her. Alani rose, calm slipping into steel. Careful, darling. Your envy is showing. Ward's fist clenched. You shut your mouth. Callan's voice cracked through the tension. Enough. Both froze, eyes locked on her. She stood, shoulders squared despite the storm inside. I'm not going back, Ward. Not to the Bureau. Not to the old rules. I'm in this with her. Ward stared, disbelief flooding his face. So you'd throw away everything for her? Callan's answer was steady, fierce. I already did. Ward's jaw tightened. He looked at her a long moment, something breaking in his gaze. Then he turned, unlocking the door. I can't save you if you won't save yourself. His voice was low, raw. And when she burns you, Cal, I won't be there to put out the fire. He left without another word. Alani moved to Callan, fingers brushing her cheek, voice soft now. Sweetheart, you just chose me over everything. Callan leaned into her touch, exhaustion and certainty mingling in her chest. I know. Alani's lips curved, a dangerous, tender smile. Then, let's make it worth the ruin. Chapter 10. The Betrayal Thread. The safe house walls were too close, the Paris air too heavy. Callan stared at the maps spread across the table, but her focus kept slipping back to Ward's words. When she burns you, I won't be there to put out the fire. Alani leaned against the window, cigarette smoke curling around her like shadow. You're brooding again. I'm thinking, Callan muttered. Same thing, when you do it too long, Alani said, exhaling smoke, storm gray eyes never leaving her. You'll drive yourself mad, sweetheart. The door creaked. Alani snapped her gun up, then froze. Ken's. Her sister stood in the doorway, pale under the dim light, eyes hollow from too many sleepless nights. She stepped inside, closing the door softly behind her. Callan's heart leapt and cracked all at once. You came back. Kenzie's lips pressed into a tight line. I shouldn't have. Alani's smirk sharpened. And yet, here you are. Family ties, darling. They strangled tighter than any rope. Kenzie's glare cut to her, voice like acid. Don't talk to me. They sat, tension wrapping the air like barbed wire. Kenzie slid a flash drive across the table. This is everything I could pull. Monroe's next move. Hale's staging ground. It'll give you an edge. Callan picked it up, relief flooding her. Kenz, thank you. But Kenzie didn't meet her eyes. She stared at the floor, voice shaking. Don't thank me. You don't know what it cost. Alani tilted her head, watching like a cat studying prey. And what exactly did it cost, darling? Kenzie's shoulders trembled. Her hands clenched into fists. Finally, she whispered, I made a deal. Callan's chest tightened. A deal with who? Kenzie's voice cracked. Interpol. Ward. I. I gave them you, Cal. I gave them both of you. The silence detonated louder than any bomb. Callan's breath stuttered. You what? Kenzie's eyes brimmed with tears. I didn't have a choice. They had me cornered. They promised if I delivered you, they'd clear me. Protect me. Alani's voice sliced through the room, low and lethal. You betrayed her. Kenzie flinched, but didn't deny it. Alani's gun shook in her hand. She couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. Her sister, her blood, had just sold her out. Kenzie's tears spilled over, voice breaking. I didn't want to. But Alani, you've changed. You're not the sister I knew. You're hers now. And I couldn't watch you burn for her. Alani's face softened, no smirk, no mask. Just raw fire in storm gray eyes. My darling sister, she whispered, voice shaking like it hadn't in years. I would have burned the world to keep you safe. And you've just lit the match at my back. Kenzie sobbed, backing toward the door. Run. Please. Run before they come. Because they're already on their way. The door shut, leaving the air shattered, Callan watching the woman she loved stand broken by the one person who could still wound her. Chapter 11. The net closes. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder with every heartbeat. Blue lights flickered against the safe house walls, turning the room into a prison of shadows. Callan shoved weapons into a duffel, adrenaline slicing through her veins. We've got minutes. Alani didn't move. She stood by the table, staring at the door Kenzie had just left through, cigarette forgotten, storm gray eyes unreadable. Alani, Callan snapped, grabbing her arm. We need to move. Alani's voice was low, almost lost. She betrayed me. My own blood. Callan's grip tightened, pulling her close. Then survive it. Don't let her win. The first crash came at the door, boots slamming, agents shouting in French and English. Interpol. Open up. Alani blinked, and the Ice Queen was gone. The storm returned. She grabbed Callan's face, kissed her hard and fast, a spark before the fire. Stay with me, sweetheart. Then she pulled 2 pistols from the duffel and turned toward the door with a smile that promised ruin. The door burst inward. Gunfire split the air, deafening in the small room. Callan dove behind the table, returning fire. Alani strode forward like she was born in the chaos, twin pistols spitting thunder. Agents dropped, glass shattered, the safe house bleeding light and smoke. Callan swore, dragging her bag over her shoulder. We can't fight them all. Alani's laugh was molten, furious. Then we make them bleed for every step they take. They crashed out the back, sprinting through the rain-slick alleys of Paris. Sirens wailed from every direction, boots pounding behind them. Callan's shoulder screamed with pain, but she kept running, Alani's hand gripping hers like a lifeline. They vaulted fences, ducked through courtyards, bullets sparking against cobblestone walls. Finally, they stumbled into a dead-end alley, hearts hammering, breath ragged. The net had closed. Callan raised her gun, back to the wall. No way out. Alani stepped in front of her, storm gray eyes blazing. There's always a way, even if it's through fire. The alley filled with shadows as agents closed in, rifles raised. And Alani, her smile curved, wicked and unyielding, whispered, Time to burn. Chapter 12. The Surrender Game. Rain slicked the alley, flashing blue with Interpol lights. Rifles aimed, shouts in French and English ricocheting off stone. Hands in the air. Callan raised her weapon, but Alani's hand closed over hers, steady, unyielding. Not yet, sweetheart. Her storm gray eyes glinted in the dark, and her smile curved sharp as a blade. Sometimes, she whispered, voice low enough for only Callan to hear, the only way to win is to let them think they've won. She stepped forward, slow, deliberate, letting her pistols clatter to the ground. Hands raised, silk dress clinging to her like defiance itself. Gasps rippled through the agents. The infamous Alani Kahue, Ice Queen of the Pacific, standing unarmed in the Paris rain. Callan's chest squeezed. Alani. Alani glanced back, smirk ghosting her lips. Trust me. They were dragged into vans, wrists bound, weapons stripped. The ride was silent but electric. Callan sat close, shoulder pressed to Alani's, every nerve screaming. "You've got a plan?" Callan muttered. Alani's lips curved, store fire in her eyes. "Sweetheart, I am the plan." The cell was cold, concrete sweating damp. Callan sat on the bunk, fury and fear tangling tight in her chest. Across the room, Alani leaned against the wall like it was her throne, even with cuffs digging into her wrists. The guard outside muttered into his radio, voice low. "They're here. Ward wants them moved tonight." Callan's heart kicked. "Ward." She looked at Alani, whisper sharp. "He's moving us. This could be the end." Alani's smirk deepened, dangerous and dark. Or the beginning. She stepped closer, eyes blazing, whispering against Callan's ear. "When I say surrender, sweetheart, I don't mean to them. I mean to me. To us. Because once they think we're broken, that's when we break them." Her lips brushed Callan's, cuffs and bars between them, and, even in the cage, fire roared. Chapter 13. Burn the Cage. Night sank heavy over the Interpol holding facility. The concrete walls hummed with fluorescent light, cameras blinking like watchful eyes. Callan sat on the bunk, restless, heart pounding. Across the cell, Alani paced slow and deliberate, every movement dripping control she shouldn't have. Finally, Callan broke the silence. "You're too calm." "That smile's never good news." Alani's lips curved. "Sweetheart, you should know by now I don't play games I haven't already won." The door clanked open. 2 guards entered, one gesturing. "On your feet. Transfers in 10. Alani straightened, storm gray eyes glittering. Perfect timing. Before Callan could ask, Alani moved. Quick, lethal. She stepped close as the first guard reached for her, twisting, slamming him into the bars. The second drew his weapon, but Callan lunged, shoulder checking him hard enough to knock the gun free. Alani caught it midair, smooth as breath, and fired, just once. The cameras above sparked dead. Smoke curled in the air. Silence fell. Callan blinked, breath ragged. How? Alani winked, sliding the keys free from the fallen guard. Darling, did you really think I walked into their net without weaving my own? The corridor was chaos, alarms blaring, red lights flooding the halls. They moved fast, weapons in hand, backs brushing as they cleared each turn. At a locked steel door, Callan cursed under her breath. We'll never break through this. Alani leaned close, voice a molten whisper. Sweetheart, the key isn't always metal. She pulled a thin vial from her cuff, acid, smoking as she poured it across the lock. Metal hissed and melted, the door swinging open under her push. Callan stared at her, half in awe, half in disbelief. You had acid in your cuff? Alani's smirk deepened. Among other things. They stumbled into the night air, Paris spread wide before them. Rain poured, sirens wailed behind, but for a moment freedom. Callan grabbed her, pulling her close against the wall. That was insane. Alani's laugh was low, breath hot against her lips. And intoxicating. Their mouths crashed together, desperate and defiant, rain slicking their skin. It wasn't tender, it was survival. It was fire burning too close to the edge, stolen in the shadow of pursuit. When they finally broke apart, Alani's storm gray eyes burned with promise. The world thinks they caged us, sweetheart. But tonight, we burn the cage down. Chapter 14. Ashes and Oaths. They didn't stop running until dawn broke over the city. Paris burned behind them in sirens and smoke, while the Seine rolled quiet, indifferent to the war waged on its banks. Callan leaned against the stone rail of a bridge, chest heaving. She was exhausted, bleeding, heart battered. But beside her, Alani stood tall, hair damp from the rain, eyes like storm fire, unbowed. Tell me this is worth it, Callan said softly, voice raw. Alani turned, cupping her face, fingers gentle despite the blood still on them. Sweetheart, nothing is more worth it than this. Than us. Callan searched her eyes, and for once, there was no mask, no smirk. Just truth. Just a fire too wild to ever die. You've turned me into a fugitive, Callan whispered, a wry smile tugging her lips. Alani kissed her, slow and deliberate, sealing the vow with heat. No, darling. I've turned you into my equal. Across the river, a figure watched from the shadows, Kenzie. Rain dripping from her coat, eyes red, torn in two. She whispered into her phone, "They're gone." And I don't know if I can stop her anymore. Then she vanished into the mist. Callan pulled Alani closer, the world narrowing to their bodies pressed together, to the storm rolling inside them. What now? Callan asked, voice quiet, steady. Alani's smirk returned, sharp and wicked. Now, sweetheart, we stop running. We hunt. Epilogue: Storms don't fade. The villa overlooked the Sicilian coast, white stone walls glowing in the last brush of sunset. Waves crashed far below, steady and endless, the only sound breaking the silence between them. Callan sat on the terrace steps, sleeves rolled up, bandages peeking beneath her shirt. She sipped wine from the bottle, head tipped back, hair loose in the sea breeze. "You're brooding again," Alani murmured, stepping barefoot across the tiles. Her silk robe whispered against her skin, every move as graceful as if the world hadn't nearly caged her weeks ago. Callan glanced up, a smirk tugging at her mouth. "And you're overdressed for brooding hour." Alani chuckled, settling beside her, close enough that their shoulders brushed. "Sweetheart, I could wear chains and still overdress you." Callan traced red lines across the paper, jaw tight. Monroe's moved again. Hale's licking his wounds. And Interpol's doubling the bounty. Alani lounged back, silk robe falling open, utterly unconcerned. "Good. Let them chase us. Wolves need prey to remember they're hungry." Callan smirked, shaking her head. "You're insane." Alani leaned forward, capturing her lips in a kiss that tasted of wine and war. "And you're mine." Callan pulled back, eyes burning. "Always." Alani's storm-gray gaze gleamed as she whispered the words that sealed their oath. "Then let them come. We'll burn every empire that tries to touch us." They sat together in the fading light, the silence not heavy now, but companionable. Alani reached over, plucked the bottle from Callan's hand, and took a slow sip. "You know," Callan said, eyes on the horizon, "we could stop. Run somewhere quieter. Blend in. Be nobodies." Alani tilted her head, studying her. "Do you want that?" Callan thought about it, about a little house, no weapons, no sirens at their heels. About peace. And then she looked at Alani, storm-gray eyes gleaming in the twilight, lips curved like they held every secret in the world. "No," she admitted. "Not if it means losing this." Alani smiled softly, an expression so rare it nearly undid Callan. "Good. Because storms don't fade, sweetheart. They only move." Later, they lay tangled in linen sheets, the villa's shutters open to the sea breeze. Callan traced idle patterns across Alani's bare shoulder, voice low. "Kenzie won't stop. She's your blood. She'll come again." Alani's eyes opened, sharp and soft all at once. "Let her. Family wounds deepest, but I've chosen my truth." "You." Callan's throat tightened, fingers stilling. "That's dangerous." Alani rolled, pressing her lips to Callan's ear, voice molten. "So is love. So is fire. And yet, here we are alive, unbroken, unstoppable." The next morning, the table was strewn with maps, weapons, and scribbled notes. The world still hunted them. Monroe still played kingmaker. Hale still burned with vengeance. But as Callan tightened her holster and Alani slipped on her jacket, their eyes met across the chaos. A vow unspoken, yet undeniable. Whatever storm came next, they would face it together. And if the world wanted to call them fugitives, so be it. They weren't fugitives. They were fire. Book 4, Crown of Ashes coming soon.